Wait, that's happened? Money was worth less than the coins it was stamped on? History is full of unbelievable true stories, but few are as strange as the moment when Rome, the mighty empire that ruled much of the known world, discovered that its money was worth less than the coins it was stamped on. It sounds absurd, but this was no small mishap. It was a slow-burning financial disaster that shook the foundations of an empire and helped pave the road to its decline. For centuries, Roman money was the envy of the Mediterranean. The silver denarius, first minted around 211 BUISE, was a sturdy little coin that carried the empire's reputation as much as its economy. Soldiers were paid in it, merchants trusted it, and taxes were collected with it. When people saw a Roman coin stamped with the emperor's face and imperial symbols, they knew they were holding a promise backed by one of the greatest powers on earth. The system worked until the emperors themselves began to tinker with it. War was expensive. Defending the empire's vast borders, maintaining legions, and funding imperial projects required staggering amounts of money. By the 3rd century CE, Rome was constantly at war, both against foreign invaders and against itself, with generals and pretenders battling for the purple. Each new emperor needed to secure the loyalty of the army, and that meant paying the soldiers. But what if there wasn't enough silver to go around? The solution seemed clever at first: coin debasement. Instead of striking pure silver denarii, the mints began mixing in cheaper metals like copper and tin. A coin that once held nearly 95% silver might, under later emperors, contain only 50%, then 25%, and eventually little more than a thin silver wash over a copper core. To the eye, it still looked shiny enough, at least for a while, but anyone who scratched or clipped the coin could see the difference. At first, people went along with it. After all, a coin was still stamped with the emperor's face. But markets are not easily fooled. Merchants began charging more for goods to account for the shrinking silver content. Soldiers demanded higher pay because their wages, though numerically the same, bought less bread and wine. Ordinary Romans saw their savings melt away as the value of their coins collapsed. The spiral worsened. Inflation ran rampant, trust eroded, and the once proud denarius became a joke. Writers of the time grumbled that the coins weren't worth the metal they were made of, let alone the emperor's portrait stamped on them. By the middle of the 3rd century, the crisis had grown so severe that Rome's economy was on the brink of collapse. There were attempts to fix it. Emperor Diocletian, ruling at the end of the 3rd century, tried sweeping reforms. He introduced new coins, attempted to restore silver content, and even issued the famous edict on maximum prices, which tried to cap what merchants could charge for everything from wheat to shoes. But markets don't bend easily to imperial decrees. Inflation continued, the black market thrived, and Diocletian's reforms failed to restore full confidence in Roman money. The deeper issue was trust. Currency works because people believe in it. Believe that a coin or a note will hold value tomorrow just as it does today. Once that faith is broken, it's almost impossible to rebuild. For Rome, the steady debasement of its currency was more than an economic mistake. It was a sign of political instability, military overreach, and the desperation of emperors who valued short-term survival over long-term stability. By the time the Western Roman Empire finally crumbled in the 5th century, its coinage had long since lost the prestige it once held. The denarius, once the backbone of a mighty economy, had become little more than a copper disc, stripped of both silver and trust. Historians still debate how much this monetary collapse contributed to Rome's fall, but it's hard not to see a connection. A state that cannot manage its money finds it harder to manage its empire. So when we think of Rome's decline, we often picture barbarian invasions, civil wars, and crumbling legions. But behind all of that was a quieter, subtler collapse. The slow destruction of value, one coin at a time. Rome's money became worth less than the metal it carried, and with it, the empire's credibility drained away. In the end, the story of Rome's coinage is a reminder that empires don't just fall to armies. Sometimes they fall to arithmetic, to economics, to the invisible weight of inflation and mistrust. And all it took to help topple the mightiest empire of its age was a little silver, shaved away bit by bit, until there was nothing left but copper and broken promises. If you enjoyed this strange piece of history, give it a like and don't forget to subscribe for more.